Make me 6'8". The way I'm shooting, my recruiter is from big state. The way I'm balling, I should probably have a mixtape. Feds on production. Baby help me count it, puts her head on concussion. Know they hate to see it cause the gang so lit. Thick rope, made my son think he can swing on it. And I ain't gon' spit lest it come with a price. You bang on Mitch, better run for your life. Cause it's tragic, but it was cool while it lasted. Go stuffing with his partner, save up on the cash. Off gaps and my brody on 10. Clearing out the crowd like they know we gon' win. Know the feeling ain't the same when we touch. I'm still tripping off a cane and a crutch.
Welcome to Old Man Sports Talk. I'm your host, Old Man Nate. The college football season has started and it's time to review week 1. I'll talk about the biggest games from this past weekend, and I will also talk about a few games coming up this next weekend. So college football also has a week 0. There's not very many games during that time, so we didn't actually have a show for week 0. We're going to combine week 0 with week 1, and we're only going to really talk about 2 games on week 0, okay? And we're not going to talk about every game every week. We're just going to pick about 10 to 15 games each week and go over them. So in week 0, probably the biggest game that everybody tuned in to watch was Florida State versus Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. Every year, or at least the past, I think 5 or 6 years, there's been a game played in Dublin, Ireland on week 0. I really like it. It used to be Notre Dame because they're the Fighting Irish, but they've kind of spread it out a little bit. In the last couple of years, it's actually been a conference game, and I think that's how they're going to do it. I know next year it's supposed to be the Big 12 going there, but last year was the Big 10. They had Nebraska and Northwestern. It was a great game. Northwestern ended up getting a win in that one. And this year was the ACC, and you had Florida State against Georgia Tech, and everybody just anticipated Florida State to come in mad, angry, and letting it out on their opponents from what happened at the end of the season last year with them not making the playoff. And it just didn't happen that way. I mean, they don't have the same roster, right? There's still some same players there, but they don't have the same quarterback, which is the biggest issue. DJ, we'll just call him DJU. He's got a hard last name to say, so we'll just call him DJU. And he is not at all what Florida State was hoping. It was a great game, though. And Georgia Tech ended up winning 24-21. They kicked a field goal with no time remaining to win the game. It was an even game all the way up till that Florida State hardly moved the ball. Georgia Tech had really great defense, and so Georgia Tech walked away with the win 24-21. Another game in week 0 was SMU versus Nevada. If you go back and watch my ACC video, I've got SMU playing in the ACC championship. And I've even stated then, it's not necessarily that I think they're one of the 2 best teams in the ACC. However, they are a good football team, and they have probably the easiest schedule in the ACC, especially when it comes to conference play. So, but they struggled against Nevada. Nevada, it was a back and forth game, but Nevada I believe it took a 10 or 14 point lead heading into the fourth quarter, but it was all SMU in the fourth quarter, and SMU came back and won the game 29-24. So that brings us to week 1. And week 1, we had a game on Thursday night, and I'm just going to tell you right now, this game on Thursday night that we're going to talk about was all about promotion of the school, promotion of college football, and it was all about media. These 2 teams are not for a Thursday night game. I would like to see 2 when you're kicking off the season, really, because I know week 0 technically kicks it off, but week 1 is really when things kick off. And on Thursday night, I personally would like to see a game like you have on the Sunday night and the Monday night or the late Saturday night games. I would like to see that. I don't want to see a game just for exposure. And this game I'm talking about is Colorado versus North Dakota State. Deion Sanders, his sons, and Travis Hunter take the center stage, and they're playing. North Dakota State is a Division II team now. It's not a pushover. Okay, they won several Division II championships. They're ranked number 2 in Division II right now, but there's a significant level of talent, and Colorado is not a good. They're not even a good football team. They're an okay football team. Okay, last year they went. I think it was 3-9, maybe been 4-8. Uh, I've got them picked to win 5 games this year, and yeah, I think it won 4 last year. I think I got them picked to win 5 this year, and so, but there's playing those two teams. There's a significant level of talent, no doubt about that. Colorado did win the ball game, 31-26, and Travis Hunter had one of the best catches that I have ever seen in all of football when he was literally falling down in the end zone, but reached back like this as he's falling down and actually grabbed with one hand, pulled with the other hand for the catch. It was a great catch. And like I said, he was falling down. It wasn't interference. They were both kind of going at each other. I thought both players made contact with each other. It wasn't one didn't want like one had more advantage than the other, but it was a great catch by Travis Hunter, and that actually put him up by I think 10 or something, maybe not 10 exactly because they won by 5. So yeah, I forget exactly how much it put them up by, but it was enough for them to hold on. North Dakota State did come down to get a touchdown, forced Colorado to punt. They got the ball back with really right at a minute to go. But no, maybe not, about 40 seconds to go. And he was able to get in to not really a Hail Mary. It was a little short of a Hail Mary, but they caught it. They did a Hail Mary, and they caught it at the 10, and the player was tackled immediately there. But I will like to say, I will tell you, I think Colorado got bailed out. Their last possession, it was third and like 13, third and 18, something like that. And Sanders threw a pass, and the defenders stopped. And I'm sorry, the offensive player stopped, receiver stopped, and the defender turned his head and ran into the offensive player, and they called defensive pass interference. I personally thought it was a bailout call simply because the receiver had stopped. He wasn't coming back to the ball, he just stopped. And the defender turned to look for the ball, so he can't see the player stopped. It wasn't like it was like, 2 or 3 seconds he ran before the ball got there when he hit him. It was like literally just a split second before the ball got there, he made contact. I thought it was a bailout call, especially that situation, and that would have gave North Dakota State the ball with over a minute and a half to go in the game. And I think that could have made a big difference in the game. Colorado's defense couldn't stop North Dakota State, especially in the second half. So, yeah, that's my opinion. But it was a great football game. I enjoyed watching it. And Colorado, like I said, won 31-26. Another game right after that one was North Carolina and Minnesota. That was – I didn't get to watch much of that one because I was watching the Colorado game. But that was a good ending to a game. 2 main things we'll talk about on that one. North Carolina lost their quarterback, Max Johnson. I believe it was to a broken leg. So he's going to be out for, if not the season, for a while. And their backup quarterback came in, really couldn't move the ball. North Carolina did win 19-17, but Minnesota missed really almost a chip shot field goal, about a 35-yard field goal as time ran out. And here's the thing on that one. So Minnesota was in field goal range. They already knew it. So they ran the ball to the right side to set up the kicker for. I'm assuming that's where he won the ball. A lot of the coaches when they're trying to set up for field goals, they'll run the ball to what side the kicker wants to kick from. And Minnesota's kicker is left-footed, so they ran to the right to get on that hash mark. And when he kicked the ball, it was heading right down the middle. And I don't know if it was extremely windy or if some type of rotation he put on the ball, but all of a sudden it just started moving right, and he missed it to the right. So North Carolina won 19-17. But here's the key thing on that: if the ball had been left in the middle of the field and kicked it there, he would have made the field goal. It would have went, probably would have headed straight left at the post and then kicked over, would have blew over into the middle of the stadium, or middle of the goalpost. So bad break there for Minnesota, and North Carolina got the win 19-17. On Friday night, there was one game on ESPN, Oklahoma versus Temple. I actually went to the game. Oklahoma won 51-3. We'll see how they'll look this coming week against Houston. My personal perspective on the game: defense looked great, looked outstanding, forced 6 turnovers. Offense, even though we got 51 points, it really kind of looked sluggish. We didn't run the ball very well until the fourth quarter. We made a couple deep passes, but we could have had a lot more. Offensive line protection wasn't there. We got sacked 3 times. Jackson Arnold was not picking up the coverages very well. There was times where I knew from where I was sitting at, there was a man-to-man coverage, the blitz was coming, and they got sacked. So he got to do a better job in that. But we'll see how he does this week against Houston. And then also that game, I forgot, there was another one at night, TCU versus Stanford. TCU won 34-27. The first half was pretty even, but Stanford led by 7 at the half. TCU controlled the second half, led by 3 after 3 quarters, and was up by 10 with a couple minutes left when Stanford kicked a field goal late and then kicked onside kick to try and, because they needed to score twice. So they went and kicked a field goal, did an onside kick to try and get a ball back, and they didn't. So TCU held on to win by a touchdown. And then on Saturday, we had, one of the big games, number 1 Georgia against number 14 Clemson. First half, 6-0 at halftime. But Clemson pulled away and dominated the second half and won 34-3. Oregon against Idaho, number 3 Oregon, and a team that I got picked to win the national championship, looked like they ain't ready to play football. They played Idaho and won 24-14. Oregon, like I said, struggled to bust the game open. Idaho cut the lead to 17-14 with 9:45 to go in the game. But then Oregon responds with it and seals the deal with a touchdown with 5:36 and holds on to win. So Oregon's got a big game this week against Boise State, and they're going to have to look much better to beat Boise State. I watched Boise State play Georgia Southern, and I know Georgia Southern's not Oregon, but they ran all over that team. They didn't even throw the ball. They were just running it, hand the ball up and running it. So another big game for this weekend was number 7 Notre Dame. I believe this game was on Saturday night. Number 7 Notre Dame against number 20 Texas A&M at Kyle Field. And Notre Dame held on to win that one 23-13. It was a really even game, really throughout the whole game. And Notre Dame scored 10 points in the final 2 minutes of the game to win it 23-13. That's a big win for Notre Dame. And it's really a bad loss for Texas A&M. I say it's a bad loss. I know Notre Dame's ranked higher than they are, but somebody comes in your house like that, yeah, you got to win the game. Number 8 Penn State versus West Virginia. Penn State won the game 34-12. There was a big rain delay. I don't know if that really, you really can't give an excuse to anybody on that. If 2 teams play, they both go through it. Yeah, Penn State really dominated the game against West Virginia. And I had somebody tell me, they got onto me because I had in the Big 12 video, I got West Virginia not doing so well. They was mad. The West Virginia fan, he was mad. So, well, maybe reality sunk in after week 1. We'll see though. Number 19, Miami went into Gainesville to play the Florida Gators, and they came away with a big victory, winning 41-17. They dominated Florida, which I got Miami picked to win the ACC this year. So, Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech. Now, Vanderbilt is known to be the stepping stool for the SEC. You know, winning a couple games for them is outstanding. And in fact, I believe Vegas had them winning. Their over/under on games was 2.5, maybe 2.5 or 3.5. Okay, well they got one already. So as they beat Virginia Tech 34-27, and this was a game where Vanderbilt jumped out to an early lead. In fact, led 17-3 at halftime. But Virginia Tech fights back to not only tie, but take the lead late in the fourth. Vanderbilt responds and drives down to tie the game and send it to overtime, where Vanderbilt wins in overtime. So great win for Vanderbilt. I believe that they're going to win more than 3.5 games. 4 games I can see them winning, including probably a couple in the SEC. Number 23, USC against number 13, LSU. This may have been the game of the weekend. 2 ranked teams. They played in Las Vegas, and USC wins it 27-20. This was a great football game, back and forth. USC scored a touchdown with 8 seconds to go in the game to win the game. I personally thought USC defense was much improved from last year, but I also thought Brian Kelly was outcoached by Lincoln Riley. Kelly's talk with the media after the game could also cause some conflict among the team. Be interesting to see if it got to his team or if his emotions turned the team against him. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you know, after the game, the coaches and some of the players go talk to the media, and Kelly slamming his fist on the table and talking about this is the first time he's ever been angry at his football team. So, yeah, like I said, I thought he was out coached. I don't think it was necessarily the player's effort. Maybe at times, but for the most part, I thought he was just out coached. And then on Monday night, the last game of the week, you had number 10 Florida State against Boston College, and Boston College went in and whooped Florida State's butt. They beat them 28-13, and they dominated this game. And the game was at Florida State. There is some serious questions that have to be answered in Tallahassee, starting with their quarterback, DJU, who we mentioned against Georgia Tech. He completed 50% of his passes for, I think, around 287 yards. He had either 1 or 2 touchdowns and 1 or 2 interceptions. But his QBR rating was like 34 or 36, something like that. So very bad. I think they need to give someone else a shot. I believe they have a freshman that's waiting in the wings to take over for next year. Well, I mean, there's no shot at winning. You have no shot at winning the ACC this year because those 2 games you lost were conference games. So you have no shot at winning or playing for the ACC championship. Might as well move on. DJU, you had your chance. You've been at Clemson, you've been at Oregon State, and now you're at Florida State. You've had your chance to try and make it to the league, and you're just not good enough. Here's another interesting thing. I forget what year they came out. I think it may have been 2018 or 19, that CJ Stroud, DJU, and there's one more quarterback. I cannot think who. Alabama's former quarterback. Where they were ranked 1, 2, and 3, 5-star quarterbacks. All 3 of them, I believe, all 3 are 5-star quarterbacks coming out of high school, and all 3 of them they were ranked 1, 2, and 3. With DJU actually ranked 2, and now the other 2 are currently in the NFL, and it doesn't look like DJU is going to make it. So also their defense, though, it's not just him though. You got to look at their D line or front 7 linebackers and D line. Okay, you got to question them because in 2 games they have given up 453 yards rushing. That's oh dang. It's almost 200 and about 26 yards a game. So yeah, Florida State's got to fix their defense. They got to find a quarterback. So this weekend, games to watch this weekend. Friday night, you got BYU at SMU. I have SMU in my top 10. They need to look like it this week, or they'll be dropping. Okay. On Saturday, early 11 o'clock game, you got number 3 Texas going to Ann Arbor, Michigan to play the Wolverines. I don't even have Michigan in my top 25, and I think you will see why this week. I think Texas handles Michigan, but it could be low scoring. Like, let's say 24-7. Okay. That's 34 points right there. I think the over-under maybe like 42 or 43 points last time I checked. So that's a dominant win. You win by 17 in Ann Arbor. It's a dominant and impressive win. Remember, last year, Texas went into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, okay, in an early season game. I think it might have been week 3 that last year, but it's week 2 this year. And so this is not something new for Coach Sark or Quinn Ewers and a couple of those other guys. They've been in this type of situation before. And Michigan is not the same team that won the national championship last year. So I expect Michigan to try and take the air out of the ball, slow it down, keep Texas off the field. But I expect Texas to try and speed it up and to try and go over the top. And we'll see. We'll see which style of play wins, but I think Texas wins. Arkansas is traveling to Stillwater, Oklahoma to take on Oklahoma State. It's going to be a good Big 12 SEC matchup. Both teams looked impressive last week. Let's see which one can keep it going. Baylor at number 11, Utah. Now, this is an interesting situation. Even though both of these teams are in the Big 12 right now, this will not be a conference game because it was scheduled before Utah knew they was coming to the Big 12, and neither team had enough time to find new opponents. Remember, it was last year, not even a year ago this time, did the Colorado and Utah and the Arizona State announce they was going to the Big 12. And you schedule these games years in advance. So it was just going to be impossible for Baylor and Utah to try and find an opponent because everybody's already got their schedules booked for the following year already. So good call to keep them going, and it's going to be a non-conference game. Iowa State is going to stay in state and go across the state to play Iowa. The battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy is always a battle, and this one should be no different. Iowa's ranked 21. Iowa State is not ranked, but I expect this to be a low-scoring, knockout, drag-out type of game, and we'll see who comes away with that Cy-Hawk trophy. By the way, that trophy is very, very heavy. That trophy is made right here in Oklahoma. There's a trophy center here in the South Oklahoma City area, and I've been in it a few times. And they make all kinds of trophies there, and that trophy is in there. It's not the actual one that goes out to the schools, but it's a replica of it, and it looks just. I mean, it's basically just another one they made, and that thing is heavy. They make a lot of trophies. They make the Orange Bowl trophy, a lot of football bowl trophies, and they did make the BCS one. I don't know if they make the current national. I haven't been in there because of COVID. I have not been in there since they went to the 14 playoff, and I have not seen if they make the current national championship trophy or not. All right, moving on. We got number 19 Kansas traveling to Illinois. This is another Big 12, Big 10 matchup. Should be a good one. And Kansas won last year 34-23. I was looking this up, and I thought they may have played more times than they have. They've only played 6 times. Each school's won 3. But other than last year, the last time they had played was like in '68. So, yeah, and then they played in the 20s and stuff. So 3-3, but really within recent time frame, it's just been Kansas winning last year. Should be a good one tomorrow in Champaign, Illinois. Number 14 Tennessee against number 24 North Carolina State, and this one's going to be technically a neutral site, but it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, so not too far from North Carolina State. And both teams won their season opener last weekend. Tennessee was very impressive. North Carolina State struggled, but still should be a good game this weekend. Sorry about that. Boise State at number 7 Oregon. Oregon struggled last week against Idaho. Boise State ran all over Georgia Southern. Both are stepping up in competition this week. Oregon is around a 20-point favorite, and I think they win, but I think it's a lot closer than 20 points. So I'm not telling y'all what to do, but if I was a betting man, I would take Boise State plus the points. Mississippi State and Arizona State, both of these teams looked better last week than I thought they would. This could be a very high-scoring game. If I can stay up for it, then I will be watching this game. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, I wasn't sure exactly what Mississippi State would look like. They lost a lot of players. Mississippi State wasn't even very good the last couple years, so I'm not sure what Jeff Lebby could bring in. But they look pretty decent. Arizona State I was very impressed with them. I thought it'd be a close game with Wyoming. Might even thought Wyoming would win, but it wasn't even close. I went to sleep. It was 27-0. I went to sleep. I think they ended up winning like 37-7 or something like that. So those are some of the games I'll be watching this weekend. I'm sorry. Should be another great weekend of college football. I appreciate you all watching Old Man Sports Talk. If you haven't already, please take the time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every time Old Man Nate drops a video or goes live. Please leave a comment and let me know what you like about the video or what you don't like about the video. I appreciate all feedback. Also, take a minute and share the video with your friends, especially those that like sports and college football. Thank you again for watching Old Man Sports Talk, and we will be back next week where I will talk about the games from this week and give games to watch next week. I will also give my new top 25, because I'm going to do my top 25 probably right now every couple weeks, and then once the playoff committee starts releasing theirs, I'm going to do my own and bounce it off of theirs. Okay. So anyways, we will see you next week right here on Old Man Sports Talk.